Good evening, everybody. This is Garnet and Old, Thursday night at 7 p.m. live. No inside info, no context, no problem. This is going to be a very different show tonight, and I'm hoping it can provide a little bit of a distraction. I just let everybody know that today is Big Papa East's birthday. It's his actual birthday today. He's not quite old like me, but he's getting there. And so, if you guys know, he actually lives in the Tampa area. I think he went to Orlando for the day or for a few days. But he will probably not be on the show tonight. But sometimes he kind of will show up even when he's not planning on being there. But happy birthday, Ryan, my brother. I love you, and I'm sorry that you didn't get to go to Hootie and the Blowfish this evening, but I'm sure they will make it up. So tonight's show, I had a show all lined up, and I had a co-host all lined up, and the co-host is here, and we're going to talk and bring him in here in a second. But the show tonight was all set up and ready to go, and I was real excited about it. And then, things happen. And Ryan and I went back and forth on whether to actually even do the show tonight because, we didn't want to seem insensitive to all the stuff that's about to go on, and it is going on for some people. But I also thought it might have been, a good distraction maybe for all the anxiety that's out there. So my wife Shannon came up with a great idea about just instead of talking about football and and the running game and who's going to be the quarterback and all this other stuff that we just are so serious about all the time, why don't we just talk about Tallahassee? Why don't we talk about a place that a lot of us call home, home away from home? Some of us, it is our home. I know plenty of my friends that I met when I was going to school there that still live there. They've never left. And it's, some really bad things kind of are on the way there. And I thought it might be a good idea. And my wife had this great idea about just talking about the town. And the community. So if you are here in the chat tonight and you have some memories you want to share, I think I'm possibly going to try a call-in show a little bit later as well. We'll see how that goes. But suffice it to say, it'll be a little different tonight. We're going to avoid the football talk as much as we can and just talk about the town, God's country. I call it all the time, God's country. And before we get started with that, let me introduce the co-host for tonight, a guy that I met several years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. He's got his own YouTube channel, and he'll talk about that as well. But I'm going to bring in Jeremy Ivins now. Rock and Noel. Jeremy, how are you tonight?
Good. Thank you for having me. Not the best of circumstances, but I appreciate being here.
Yeah, I appreciate you being willing to jump in here and be the co-host. I know that we kind of already had a plan of what we were going to do, but we're going to do it a little bit differently today. And I know it's going to be, even though it's a difficult thing to talk about, I know you have lots of thoughts and memories and things about Tallahassee as well, right? So I think it'd be, it's not like you're coming in here with no knowledge. Like we all have these memories and things that we probably, this is a good time to talk about them, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about your introduction to Tallahassee and how you got to love it and Florida State in general, yes, but the town.
Thanks. First off, thanks again for having me, Ryan. Happy birthday. Thanks for letting me try to fill your shoes tonight. Man, my introduction to Tallahassee was, I grew up in Miami, so Miami pretty much for the most part couldn't be any more different than Tallahassee. But I fell in love with it right away. And the thing I noticed right away was just how nice the people were. Not saying there's mean people in Miami. Well, there's some. But
right.
People will just walk up to you and just introduce themselves to you right away. That was like a culture shock for me. Miami, you don't do that. to people. You don't know. And I just fell in love with it right away. I fell in love with the school right away. People thought I was destined to be in Miami, go to Miami, believe it or not. Hard to
Right.
believe now, but I grew up a mile from the campus. My high school was like affiliated with that, and I wanted to do something different. And to this day, I'm so glad I did. And I love now going back to Tallahassee and see how much it's grown since I went there. I joke with people that I feel like I went there in the Flintstone days compared to what it's like now with College Town and Midtown and just so much, even Tennessee Street, so much more stuff. Like I love that this town has just grown so much.
So tell me about it. Kind of narrow down your years that you were there, so people get an idea.
Okay, well, I enrolled in the summer of '96, and then I ended up moving back to South Florida in '02. So I was there for until my last year or two up there, living in Tallahassee. As far as living there, I was there for the golden days, the Bobby Bowden years, the Peter
Yeah.
Warwick years, the Chris Wenke years, the golden days where if we lost 1 or 2 games a year, it was like you didn't know how to handle it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
those were my times there. Yeah.
So yeah. So my wife's she graduated in '96. So you got there right at that time, and it was a great time. And you're right, things are a lot different there. And just from the construction standpoint, and I joke all the time with my daughter who is going there currently that it's like the Taj Mahal of like things, right? The college town and these off campus apartments that are like luxury luxury villas and things like that, right? So it definitely has changed a lot over the years. But going back to the thing that you said at the very beginning, people just it has a very much old South feel to it. And I don't know, most of the people that are going to probably tune in tonight already know about Tallahassee and get all that. But just in case there's anybody out there that thinks Tallahassee is palm trees and white sand beaches and South Beach and all these things that people get in their mind
Right.
about what Florida is. Tallahassee is not that at all. Tallahassee is very much Old South. So you got that experience, right?
I did get that experience, and it's funny over the summer, and not to plug my channel yet. I'll do that later. But
No,
I
you
sat,
absolutely plug it.
I
Yeah, yeah,
sat down with the owner of Corby's from Notre Dame because I was
yeah.
previewing that game weekend experience. And after we stopped filming, we were chatting about the area and what it's like, and he was explaining to me that there's like a myth that visiting team fans shouldn't come to their establishment. He goes, "You guys have always been great. Every time Florida State fans come, it's just a wonderful experience." He said Clemson was like that. He said what was a culture shock to him was, believe it or not, Georgia fans, when they went out there, their fans were literally calling the bar and asking, "Are we allowed to wear our stuff here? Will you kick us
Right,
out?" And they were like, "No, if you're as long as you're nice, you're fine." And he goes, "You guys get that." And
right,
then
right,
I was telling him about our game day experience, and I said, "We kind of copied one of your areas that we needed desperately." He goes, "What do you mean? You're Florida State, you're Tallahassee." I said, "When I went to school there, we only had one bar by the stadium that was walking distance, and it was an old
mhm,
place that people didn't always go to." He goes, he could not believe it. I said, "Now we finally corrected that 15 years later, and there's so much to do outside a game. We didn't have that when I was there. You just pretty much just walked the stadium and that was it." So when I
right,
talked about how the place has grown so much, when I did a vlog spring weekend, I was like, none of this was here when I was here. We never had a place to hang out before and after games like this. It was very
yeah,
small feel and a big school feel.
yeah. I mean, that's very true. You would end up going to your friend's apartment or something like that, right? Which maybe probably too many of them occurred at my apartment, but that's just kind of how it was at the time. But now they have these other destinations. So I remember specifically when I was when I was making the decision to go to school there, and I spent my first semester at TCC. So I had transferred in to TCC and spent one semester there. Um, I, I had never spent much time up there. I kind of went up there not on a whim, but I had some friends that were going to school there say, "Hey, you got to come up here and you got to check this out." And I remember driving up there just to, find a place to live. And I was taken aback by the hills, like the rolling hills, right? And the red clay and like the canopy roads and, just these massive trees everywhere. And it was almost like I was in a different world, like compared, because I grew up in Naples,
Okay.
and that's very much, Florida, right?
Oh yeah.
Palm trees and not the rich part of Naples, by the way, the very middle class part of Naples. So it was very different for me, and I just fell in love with it immediately. So whether it's going back there now, going to visit my daughter, I will drive into town, and as soon as I get off of I-10, we usually take the Mahan, right, the loop off of Mahan. Usually, as soon as we get on that loop, and I'm about to go on to Mahan, like my blood pressure goes down. It has this very calming experience for me that I look forward to getting back to, to get out of your normal daily life. What's it like for you when you go back there?
Man, it's almost the same feeling. For me though, if I drive up there and I make let's say the 6-7 hour drive from South Florida, I always still get off at Monroe Street. That's where I got off as a student for the first time, and I still get off there. My hotel
That's
could
funny.
be in the other direction in somewhere
That's
else.
funny.
I have to get off at that exit every time. And I'll find an excuse in my head as to why I'm going to do that. But yeah, I drive down Monroe, and like I said, the town has grown, but it still has the same charm that it had
Mhm.
30 years ago.
Yeah,
So
I I try not to get off at Monroe because it's immediate, almost chaos immediately when you get there.
I didn't say it
So
was great, but
I try to ease into it by
right.
going, there's some more hills to go up and down before you get into the traffic mess. We've got a great comment here from Tracy McLaughlin Jenkinson, who's a friend of mine and has been a friend of mine for years. Her daughter is currently going to Florida State right now, and she's in the Chiefs as well. Prayers to all the Tally people. Rob is getting deployed there to help after the storm. So Rob is in the fire department. So he's in that line of work. And that is, he's being deployed there. So yeah, as a matter of fact, I can't even count how many people were tweeting or posting on Facebook or whatever, pictures of lines of tree trucks and power company trucks and ambulances on their way to Leon County and the area to help deal with this. So thank you, Tracy, for watching. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you.
Thank you, Tracy.
Got another one here. Suzanne Bejure, fond memories of Tallahassee. Bladder bust at the first comes to mind. Yes. So I've told this story a lot to people that don't know about the first. And the first was actually kind of on its way out when I got there, but I got to go there a couple times. And it was the kind of deal where, it was nickel beers until someone needed to use the restroom. And then, someone blows it for the rest of the bar, So thank you, Suzanne. The first is a great memory of mine as well. So thinking about Tallahassee, what are some Florida State aside and sports aside, what are some things that you did in and around the town that kind of spark your memories?
Oh man, it's a great question. You know, I was like I said, I was there in the late '90s, and it was a different time. So I got to know the football team, believe it or not, through some classes. Snoop Minnis, great player. We became friends, and one day he said to me, "Why don't you come by the dorms and just say hang out one night?" Because it was a different time then.
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds, and sure enough, that led to a friendship with everybody, and friends I'm still friends with to this day. And uh, so that's just memories there. Guys I still talk to. I used to record the games for them because that was before
Oh wow.
DVR and everything. So on Sundays, I would bring it over to one of their places, and they would break down the game, the TV copy.
Mm.
And I learned so much about football through those experiences. And then, but I always have my friends outside of that as well too. Um, man, Florida State was my first real just man. I'm on my own. High school, I kind of kept it simple. Florida State, I really like had to learn what was wrong and what wasn't wrong.
Hmm.
Sometimes the hard way, sometimes not the hard way. But I'm definitely a better person for my years in Tallahassee. That's what I always remember. Every time I get off, I say, "This is the place that changed you for the better."
Absolutely.
And that's when I
Absolutely. And
first thing when I get off in Monroe.
there's a, there's the school part of it, right? And that is all well and good. And I often, when people ask me, at work or colleagues will ask me, said, if our office ever opened, a branch in Tallahassee, would you live there? And my answer is always, when's it happening? Because a lot of people, they have those formative years and then they go away and they can never see themselves going back there because it's not going to be the same, right? Because you're in a different phase of life and all that kind of stuff. But because I have continually gone back there over the years, and then my daughter went to school there, um, it's more than just the hometown of my alma mater, right? It's more than that to me, and so I absolutely, as an adult, would relish living there. There's so many things, right? Like you take, for example, I know people laugh at this, but uh, Lake Ella, right, which is right on Monroe Street,
Yep.
and you drive by it all the time. But I have fond memories of of going there, for fraternities, sorority things, and just being in that area. Or take Tom Brown Park, right? Which, forget about the fact that it's right next to the prison. That doesn't matter,
Right.
right? I have fond memories there, right? The Res. I mean, I know you've been to the Res, right? Yeah. So tell me about that. So let me tell you your experiences there.
I didn't go there that much. I've been there a few times.
Yeah.
I lived off campus my first year at Cash Hall. It's not even there anymore.
Oh, I know Cash Hall very well.
Cash Hall, yeah, right by Tennessee Street, and it seemed like we just stayed in that bubble.
Yeah.
The first year I went there a few times. It wasn't as popular.
Yeah.
In my time there, I know, like 5-6 years before, like you couldn't get a spot there. It was so popular.
Yeah.
But kind of piggybacking off what you talked about earlier, and I was thinking, I used to be a PE teacher for 17 years, and many of my old students ended up going to Florida State. Not because I told them to go, or it was way past when they had me as a teacher. But like the best feeling ever was, like, I can explain it through my eyes, but to see it through somebody else's eyes and them say, "Coach, now we see why you just love this place so much. You never drove us crazy about it. You never, but we know you're always wearing a Florida State thing, or when it's football season, you have a little more pep in your step." Like they
Right.
would say
Right.
that.
Right.
But they say, now we see why you love this place, and we hope we love it as much when we're alumni as you do. And I said, trust me, when you're alumni, you're going to love it even more.
Yeah, because I think you see it through a different lens, and you
Yeah.
have you have a desire for the people that are in that phase of life to get the same out of it that you did, right? So you're trying to, like, I spend a lot of time talking about the Chiefs, of course, and I want them to have the same experiences, right, that I had. Um, and and so that makes you, as an adult, like, it makes you pour into it even more, but in a different way, right? Because you're not maybe giving blood, sweat, and tears. Maybe you're giving money, right? But
It's helpful.
it's helpful,
Right.
for sure. But that's kind of, when I'm watching these videos, and I'll go ahead and pull something up here. I didn't want to, I don't want to, like, go crazy here on, like, just, adding to um, the media frenzy that's going on about this storm.
Oof.
But, there are so many charming things about the area and the town and the community that, I have no doubt that it doesn't matter what the storm does, everything will be fine in the long run. But it hurts my heart to know that I have so many friends that are there tonight that are going to go through some scary stuff. Um, so, do you have any friends that are currently in town there that are
Yeah, I do.
right?
One of my old friends from high school. When I go back, I try to visit him and meet up with him for dinner or something. And he jokes with me that you live in South Florida still and go to more home games than I do. It drives me crazy, and we joke about it. But yeah, I need to reach out to him. And remember, they just had the tornado
Yeah,
about 5 months ago. So, Tallahassee's already been through a lot. But
yeah.
I'm glad
Recently,
you said what you
yeah,
said earlier, because it hurts my heart too. And I've seen some of the tweets tonight from parents saying my kid elected to stay, and I won't sleep tonight because I'm worried. So I'm thinking about them. But Tallahassee is one of the most resilient places you'll ever find. The tornado, they bounced back. They had a storm a few years ago, bounced back. I think before the Ole Miss game as well. That week they had a
yeah,
storm.
absolutely, yeah,
Had no
absolutely.
power that week and made it work.
It's really strange, right? Because, I can't recall, many storms going up and, basically punching the Panhandle or punching the Big Bend area at all, really.
Right.
And in the last 2 years, whether it's a storm or tornadoes that touch down or whatever, it seems like that's like storms are in a rut right now. That's the path that they're taking, and it's like give the community a chance to come back a little bit before you get pummeled again.
Right.
Um, I've got a good friend of mine. He's actually a coworker of mine that is co-owner of one of the most established bars in town, and he's there, and he tried to get the family out ahead of time, and because of airport problems and whatever, they couldn't get out. So they are there, and so just Dean, just know that we're thinking about you and your family. And I know you'll always say you're good and there's nothing we can do for you, but just know, and my wife's been doing this too. It's probably too late to leave now, right? But we have space here, and we've been telling people we have space. Um, and I know it's tough for people to leave their homes, but this is not your typical, this is not your typical storm. I don't believe so.
Yeah. I mean, I lived through Hurricane Andrew, so
Yeah,
I hate to say that I know what they're going through, but I do. I have other friends there as well, and I tell you, I think the state of Florida mindset, not Florida, is that we're not going to let this intimidate us. We've been through it before, which is good
yeah.
and bad at the same time. because bad
Yeah,
means you
because
underestimate it, and then good means you're
yes,
not going to let it get you. No different
yes,
than spirituality.
you get lulled into a
Right.
sense of security because you get all this buildup, and then not say nothing happens, but it's rarely like the media says it's going to be, and then you feel like you can weather anything, and a number of years ago, the Jacksonville area got hit with storm after storm after storm, and I can't remember which one it was specifically, and but all of our relatives and stuff were coming to our house. We happened to be higher in the sea level. So they all came to our house. And I just remember thinking to myself, this is like, I got scared. And so you feel like you need to stay because it's your house, it's your stuff, it's your place, it's your love. It's all this time you spent. But when you're in the middle of it, all of a sudden you're like, what am I even doing here? It changes your mentality, and that I don't believe what I went through is anything like possibly what's going to happen later tonight. So
2017,
all
we
our
went
friends,
through one here in South Florida. That was
yeah,
pretty bad. Florida State ended up canceling their game that weekend, even though they didn't really get hit that hard. But
right,
which was fine. But a lot of people I know were deciding between driving to Tallahassee to seek refuge or Atlanta. And then a lot I know ended up just going to Tallahassee because they said it was 2 hours shorter. And so
right,
many people
right.
messaged me asking where to go, what to do. And I remember them writing me back saying, we give you a hard time about that place, but that town couldn't have been any more hospitable to us and helpful
And
and just welcoming
yeah,
us. And I said, that's
and
how
why
they are
is that?
every day, no matter what they're.
Yes, and why is that? And when I talk about Tallahassee, they always jump back to it's a Florida State town or whatever, and I'm not a Florida State fan, so I'm going to get bombarded. I'm going to get harassed with. You're going to have bad fans no matter where you are,
Yeah.
but Tallahassee's kind of not like that because it is the capital. You got the government there. You got multiple colleges there. So it's not like some other places where that one university is the only thing going. Tallahassee is very much a diverse place when it comes to that. So you can drive through there and see, flags from other schools,
Oh, yeah.
right? And it's just you're just used to seeing it, and so you don't get that same kind of vitriol that you do at other places. And that goes back to what you originally said, is that it's just a welcoming kind of community. Marnie Barrett says, great memories, marching Chiefs with best friends during the national championship, Bullwinkles, Club Park Avenue, late night sinkhole swimming, and so many more. Yeah. And Marnie, thank you for being a member. I really appreciate that. And that goes a long way for sure. But yeah, I don't know that I did any sinkhole swimming.
I did
I'm
not.
trying to remember. Maybe if I did, I maybe had a little too much to drink at the time. I don't recall that happening. I've got another couple comments here we want to put up because we asked people, by the way, if you are in the comment section, just go ahead and put a comment in there about a memory you have or something that you want to say to the community. Because we all have friends that are there, either living there now and maybe they've left to get away from the storm, or maybe they're there right now. John Piskorski, Florida Strong.
One of my
Salute.
closest friends.
Okay. And he originally said, Rock and Noel brought me here. So apparently you have a connection with this person?
Yeah, he's one of my closest friends in Naples. He's one of the
There you
people
go.
that convinced me to get onto YouTube and do this. So.
And he's from where?
He's from Naples.
Oh, very good. I'm from Naples as well, John.
Yeah.
Philip Dugas. Philip, good friend of the family here. To lighten the mood, your wife just got off tomorrow. So apparently St. Johns County has decided to join the rest of the rational world and have called off school for tomorrow, apparently. St. Johns County is, I don't know if they take great pride in it, but when most school systems in the state of Florida are calling off for a storm, St. Johns County will wait till the very last moment. to do it. But apparently Shannon has off for tomorrow. So that's good. Mahi Griller, thinking of everyone in Tally. My family is watching anxiously from 1,000 miles away. That's a good distance away. I get to live vicariously through my daughter and the Chiefs and have met some great people in that incredible place. Lifetime memories. Absolutely. Mahi Griller, I know who you are. You're a good friend, and I know who this is. And I'm thankful you are out of the way as well. So thanks for watching tonight. Got some more comments here I want to throw up. A lot of memories from undergrad and grad school days at Florida State. Lucky Goat Coffee, Midtown Caboose, great restaurant, by the way.
Never been there, but I heard great things. I've never been
you got to go to Midtown Caboose. Things. Yeah, if you go, get the Liberty Bell. It is delicious. Football games being dunked in the Westcott Fountain at 21 years old by your friends, which is not sanctioned by the university. And fun times. Absolutely. Brad Ruth, Chiefs, KK side, the Moon. Yes. We used to do the Chiefs banquet at the Moon. AJ's was there on Tennessee Street. They built that, kind of when I was there, it was built, I think, and it had a second deck to it. And I heard over time that second deck got kind of shaky, right? And 4 national championship games. That's right. And 4 national championship games in 5 years, and we only won one of them, I believe. I biked the ride from Tally to that exact spot in St. George. So, yeah, we're showing the St. George cam here. So let me flip over to another one here. This is the Naples Pier, actually. This is not the Naples Pier that was there when I was growing up. That got, demolished. I believe this is a new Naples Pier, but you can see kind of the surf that's going on there. We got Siesta Key. It's blurry here from the mist, I assume. Cedar Key. Yeah, let me go live here. Let's see what we got going on here. Yeah, this is much more recent now. At Cedar Key, and then Doak Campbell. Let's see if I can get a fresh camera here. Yeah, so looking okay so far there at Doak Campbell. Lori McGann, also a member. Lori, thank you for being a member of Garnet and Old. Our favorite things about Tallahassee, FSU summer music. I know what's coming here. FSU summer music camps for our son. Spirit. Spirit. Did you go to Spirit, Jeremy?
Yes.
Okay,
I hate that it had to close.
Yes.
Great place.
It was awesome. And I think COVID kind of put the nail in the coffin there, but that's where I was introduced to mac and cheese bites. Watching all of our surrogate Chiefs. Yeah. And of course, it's the birthplace of Vanilla Vince. If you want more information on that, I get to tell you the story later.
Okay.
Praying for the entire area, and the first responders will be going. Yeah, absolutely. I mentioned that a little bit before. There's a whole caravan of people like heading that way if they're not already there. This is a very important person in my life, Shannon Ciccarelli, who has the day off tomorrow. Muffins from the Mill. Everybody remembers the Mill, I think. Restaurant off of Monroe. As you go, like you're heading toward I-10, you pass the Hooters, and you pass, there's a Mexican restaurant there. It used to be right there on the left, kind of burned down, but they used to have these huge mills or these huge muffins. And if you were lucky in the Mint magazine, you would get a buy 5, get 5 free. But now those muffins are available at Couche's. I think it's the same company that runs Couche's. McClay Gardens. No, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I'm saying I was surprised I haven't seen Bagel yet.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen that yet either. Late night library, all torn down to make way for the fanciness that these students get to have now in St. George Island, which is, a very great memory for me as well. John Skorsky says they haven't started to rebuild the Naples Pier after Ian. So is that the original pier still, John? I don't really know. C. Rankin Enterprises. Thank you, C. Rankin Enterprises, for joining the chat here. Lunches at the Loop. Going to see Larry for a haircut next. That's right. Working at Fun Station, dinner at Los Compadres. Los Compadres is still going strong. I got my haircut at Renegade Barbershop for years and years and years when I had hair. I don't really have hair anymore. Jim and Milt's, couldn't find a better breakfast for the cheapest amount. You could have $2 in your pocket and walk away happy.
Yeah.
So yeah, bring all the memories in, and not just necessarily about the campus stuff. If you have some other things you want to talk about, outside of the school area in general, like, like I said, going to the res, or how about how far away the airport seemed to be, when I was going to school there, right?
Now you go there to what, 5
country.
miles, 6 miles?
Yeah.
If that.
I have go ahead.
No, I was just saying but a lot of stuff mentioned is not really on campus or that close. So it's cool that people here really got to enjoy Tallahassee for the city it is, not just the college area. Because Gainesville, you talk to those people and they'll tell you, yeah, we don't go back there since we graduated. Maybe for one game every couple of years. They don't really have the affinity that we do. So
yeah, and I don't want to pretend like only Tallahassee has this vibe to it. But I don't care about other people right now. I only care about Tallahassee today.
Thank you.
So we were just going to keep it there. I have another special guest that we're going to bring onto the show. She's a current student at Florida State. She is a current marching chief at Florida State. I know everything about her. Well, I'll probably almost everything about her, but I'm going to bring her on right now. It's my daughter, Julie. Hi, Julie.
Hi. I have not been on the show before, so I'm not entirely sure if anyone can hear me.
We can hear you fine.
But I'm happy to be here, and I'm glad I get to talk about one of my favorite subjects in the world, which is the beautiful city of Tallahassee.
Oh.
Well, awesome. So tell me about, you're going to have to tell everyone, but because I could tell the story for you, but it's going to be better coming from you. Tell me about your love of Tallahassee and where it started.
Yeah, so I've been going to football games in Tallahassee since I was, I'd say, about 9 months old. They waited. I was born in November, so they waited until the next season to bring me to a game. They didn't want the newborn out there, but they didn't wait too long so that I could have the proper appreciation. And so I got to spend every Saturday of my childhood in the fall, every fall Saturday in Tallahassee, in the heat, in the rain, when it gets slightly colder, up and down the hills, in my little pink FSU outfits as a child. And so Tallahassee was my home away from home before I ever moved there. It's a beautiful city that I've loved my whole life. And I got to watch my aunts and uncles go through their degrees there and their time in marching chiefs and their master's degrees there, and get all of my love for Tallahassee and for Florida State just exponentially multiplying all the time based on all the people in my life that I love also loving Tallahassee and Florida State. So when I finally got to when it was finally my turn, it was 2020, so it was a little bit odd, but it was still like a dream come true, and I'm still happy every day that I get to spend in Tallahassee.
Julie, tell me about what you're worried about for tonight.
I've got some friends there that are still there, so I'm worried about them. I'm worried about obviously the trees around their houses and keeping them safe as they can be. I tried, man. I tried to get those people to evacuate, but you want to stay in your city, and I respect that. And it was hard for me to leave too. But I'm worried about over the summer we had some tornadoes come through, and that just, there was like an economic toll on a lot of the restaurants and like small businesses in Tallahassee that they couldn't really recover from. So there was a lot of places that closed after that still haven't reopened. And so I'm worried about a lot of my favorites. We lost a strong soldier, burrito border, in the tornadoes, which we're going to get a Colombian restaurant there soon. So that will still be delicious, but it is sad that I can't get my giant bowl of potatoes and vegetables. But yeah, so I'm worried about my friends. I'm worried about our beloved hangouts and restaurants keeping afloat. And I'm hoping those temporary stadium seats stay put as well, because we do not need those flying through the air.
That's a good point. I had the camera up a little bit ago, and those are temporary seats. So that would be pretty catastrophic. It would be pretty catastrophic winds getting into the bowl of Doak Campbell to unseat those, I think. Jeremy, what about you? What are you worried about for tonight?
I mean, the stadium. I mean, you always wonder about. You just want people's houses to stay put, like your daughter said perfectly. You just want them to wake up, be safe, and their houses to be in one piece, and then you can take it from there. And hopefully, power's not out for very long there, because I've been through that where it's out for a week or two, and it is miserable. So I just hope it's as minimal damage as possible, and that people have their power. That's the worst part of the storm. After that is the power situation.
Yeah, and what I don't like, and it's, I mean, nobody likes this, but when you're seeing the aftermath stuff, and it's one thing to see, the trees down, and that hurts your heart, right? And to see, debris places, that hurts your heart. But to see people, looking lost, or looking like they don't know what to do next. That's the part to me that I'm not looking forward to, because that there's going to be some of that, and hopefully not a lot, but there is going to be some of that. Got some more memories here. Breeze Fry, bonfires out by Lake Talquin during the cold months. Yes, I have done that. Dog Lake's that the name of it? Out that way, or sort of out that way. We got a fan here, Julie. You got a fan here.
I love you.
And then we got a really long comment here, so it's gonna have to cover your face here for a second, Julie. So many wonderful memories and amazing friends made at Florida State and in the Marching Chiefs. My sister, brother, and I all met our spouses in college at Florida State. This is absolutely true. It's not a matchmaking business, but it tends to work out that way sometimes. FSU built the family, the Chick Mag ranks. My husband and I loved it there so much. We left our jobs a couple years into our marriage and moved back to Tallahassee for grad school. Tallahassee will always have a piece of my heart, praying for the safety and well-being of Tallahassee and all those who are lucky enough to currently, I think we ran out of characters, call it home. Probably. I think I could finish that off. Yes, Bradwood says Dog Lake and Alligator Point. There's some interesting connections there too. So, when you were saying, we're worried about people, we're worried about businesses, I'm sure that there are going to be opportunities for people, to participate in some form or fashion, whether it's giving of money or giving of time or whatever. And I don't know what those are yet. I mean, obviously the Red Cross is always something that you could do, I think. But, I'll just say that if this is on a whim, if you Venmo Garnet and Old, I will send that. If you earmark it for Tally, I will find a place to give that to, because I don't have a particular, charity in mind, or one that I know to put up on the screen. So if you earmark that for Tally, it will not go to the channel at all. It will go to someone or something that needs it. So, Jeremy, what else you got?
As far as Tallahassee or in general, I guess if I could take 2 minutes, just talk about my channel.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That was a good time. So basically, and Vince has seen a little bit of it. So basically, when I got into YouTube, like I realized, all right, there's a ton of great Noel shows like this and other ones. So yeah, I want to do that a little bit too, but I wanted to be different as well. And one thing I've always noticed is if someone's going away for a game, they always say, well, where do I go? Where do I hang out at? Where do I eat? What do I do? What's a good place to do? I want to enjoy the area. And I would go on YouTube and I really wouldn't see that many videos geared for a game day weekend. So I said, all right, when I do this, I want to create a vlog. So for example, I did an SMU vlog over the summer. So people can see some cool places by that stadium for a game day weekend. Just an idea. I'm not saying you have to go there, but just an idea. I did Notre Dame. So if when we go there, you'll see some of those places. So that was just something really important to me. It's grown. When I was in Dublin, I got a lot of really cool things from a game day vlog. So that's really my thing, is that I'm trying to do it where, okay, I'm thinking of doing some other games as well. Obviously, I'm focusing on Florida State first. I was supposed to go out of town this weekend. That was going to be canceled one way or another, I guess. So yeah, that's the thing. The Rock and Noel channel. If you have other ideas for vlogs, I've done cruise vlogs. I've done other things as well. It's not just the Florida State vlogs. I did England. I did Paris as well with the Dublin. So yeah, I'm basically trying to go the travel vlogs, but also gear a lot to football. So when you go on, you'll have idea. I've already got 3 schools in mind for next year. That's why I was really hoping we'd leave the conference after this year so I can go to places that Florida State hasn't gone to yet and kind of be the first one to really show it. So the lawsuit's not helping me there. So yeah, that's the Rock and Noel channel. And yeah, please check out some of my vlogs there. I'm doing some more live streams. I want to grow that as well, but that's not the number one thing. The number one thing is the vlogs. I went to Creed over the weekend, Florida State guys. And if you see the vlog, right when we got the play to seal the game the other day was when With Arms Wide Open started. And all these Noles were cheering, and that song's, I think the band heard us a little bit because we were near the stage. Because we were jumping up and doing the chop, and they know what that is, obviously, because they went to Florida State. So yeah, that's my thing right now, is that I'm trying to be diverse with the channel. You'll see I've done a lot of different things, obviously Florida State first and foremost, but I want to give a vlog where people can always know places to hang out on the game day near the stadium when they're in a different place.
Jeremy does a great job, and I posted the link to his channel in the chat there. So go and subscribe, everybody. There's some great stuff. There's some funny stuff for sure, and some of the Dublin stuff is particularly funny. So it was great to hang out with you there, and of course, whatever we can do to, just like, this is not a commercial necessarily, but whatever you can do to support fellow Noles, I think it's what makes this community pretty special. Julie, what about you? What's going on with you next?
Getting ready for the Clemson game. I know we're not talking about football, but I feel like I can talk about Marching Chiefs a little bit because we're pretty non-controversial most of the time. And it's a lot of good Tallahassee residents who are waiting out the storm just like everybody else. And we're excited to get back to work once it's time for us to have rehearsal again. We were very sad to have our 3 days of rehearsal canceled this week because we love being out there, even when it's hot and raining and all of that. We love being out there. And yeah, so get excited to hear us at the Clemson game. We may or may not have our new uniforms based on how the shipping is impacted by the storm.
A good
point. So if we're not dressed to the nines, be patient with us. We're having to be patient too. But we'll be there and we'll be playing. So I'm very excited about that.
That's a great point on the Chiefs in general. I mean, they were supposed to send a pep band to Dallas, and the storm, rightly so, decisions were made to keep those students safe, because it wasn't. Obviously, it's difficult to get 100 plus people out of town, and people were like, well, why couldn't they just leave earlier? But remember, they got to come back, and who knows what they're going to be coming back to. So it was the right call there, and it was very. I know the students were sad that they wouldn't be able to go, and then good friend of mine who is one of the directors of the Chiefs, riding it out in Tallahassee tonight. So, Dr. Plack, you are in our prayers, and if you're hiding in the closet, in the Harry Potter closet, we just had a tornado warning come through here, and Julie and I and my wife, we were in our closet under the stairs not that long ago. So, the Chiefs can't wait to get back in action. Let's see. I met Jeremy. Just from Shan. I met Jeremy up at the bar in Dublin where he was vlogging about the beer. He was. So if you are into beer selection, Jeremy had that covered as well.
Doesn't Dublin feel like a lifetime ago now?
It really does feel like a lifetime ago.
I mean, last night, sorry to interrupt, I was on Earth Cam, and it was Temple Bar area.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like 11 our time, so I guess 4 a.m. out there. And I was like, that trip, from what we've been through as a fan base and city of Tallahassee, feels like a year ago.
It really does feel like so long ago. The losses, again, this is not a football show, but the losses have scarred me. It's almost like Dublin is like, I don't even equate that with football anymore. It's just a trip I went. So Nole Nation, from Corpus Christi, Texas, I'm praying for Tallahassee, Florida, is from Renee Limon. I'm going to go fancy on that. And from Big Papa East, much love from the birthday boy to you guys. Ryan, we are thinking about you. Happy birthday, my brother. And looking forward to getting you back in the saddle here as well. Julie, you have anything else you want to hit on before the show is done? Before I pull you out?
I just want to emphasize that Tallahassee has been when we're storm prepping in Tallahassee, especially in the FSU community, in the Marching Chiefs community, it's very all hands on deck, and it's all we're there to help each other. And that's kind of the general attitude that I get from Tallahassee as a whole very often is we're not going through it alone. And so I just want everybody to remember that we're a big family.
I love it. And whatever, as you eventually go back, Julie, if there's things that you hear about that we can help out with, either as individuals or maybe Garnet Nold or Jeremy's channel as well, that we can shine some light on, you just let us know, because it's going to be some time. It's going to take some time to get things kind of back to quote unquote normal. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll keep my ear to the ground for sure. And if you're interested in running at some point in Tallahassee and seeing the beautiful campus, you're welcome to come to the Marching Chiefs 5K, which will be homecoming weekend. It'll be the weekend before Thanksgiving on that Sunday, and it'll be super fun, and everything will be great.
Yeah, the Marching Chiefs 5K is homecoming weekend. You don't have to run. You can walk if you want, if you're not a runner. And I'm happy to say at this point, Garnet Nold is the official YouTube show podcast of the Marching Chiefs 5K. So be looking for more information about that. Julie, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Just to throw some more visuals up here real quick before we kind of call it a night here, Jeremy. This is, this is, again, not Tallahassee, but
far though.
Yeah, this is kind of what I'm saying is hurts my heart. I got friends there tonight that are trying to ride it out, and whatever kind of prayers we can put up. It's my home. It's my home, and it's getting to me right now. So,
yeah, I mean, that's why I always try to stress to people, and people think I'm being a little too simple when I say it, but if the worst thing that happens in your day is your Florida State loses a football game, you're doing okay, because this is a prime example.
Yeah. Going back to what we were saying, like football aside, Saturday's going to happen. Whatever happens Saturday is going to happen, and we can all be frustrated, or happy later,
Right.
because this is got to take the front of your mind. Shannon jumps in here again. Okay, one more thing that you alluded to. Years ago, I was lucky enough to do 4 semesters of student teaching in Tallahassee, because FSU College Ed is awesome, and it is. The teachers, parents, and families of Tally couldn't have been more welcoming to a 21-year-old student. You were that young. They invited me to their homes for dinner and treated me like their own. The people of Tally are so kind. They are. So just a great way to kind of wrap it up there. Any final thoughts, Jeremy?
No, I just want to thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. Ryan, happy birthday. Vince, thank you again. And Tally, stay strong. I mean, you are one of the most resilient, toughest places, from weather to the recount situation there in 2000 to you name it. I mean, Tally does not back down, and this will be no different, but it's not going to be easy. And I'm praying for you guys.
Yeah. And Jeremy, again, I'll go back to what I said at the beginning. We're going to have you back on when it's a more normal circumstance, because I just love your insight on things with the team. And so we'll make sure that happens again pretty soon. And, like you said as well, even though Unconquered is a Florida State thing, it's really a Tallahassee thing.
Absolutely.
And so, we're with you guys tonight. And if you need anything from me, from Jeremy, from this channel, from his channel, if you're there tonight, or whatever, let us know. And just because we want to make things a little bit normal here for tonight, let's just go ahead and end with our typical screw ESPN eternally, because we do not care about that. And we are trying to send Chiefs all the damn time. They just, heartbeat. You talk about the heartbeat. They are the heartbeat. So thank you, everybody, for chiming in, and thank you for the comments. Again, it just, warms my heart as well. So this has been Garnet and Old tonight, special edition, Tally Strong, Unconquered. And we love you guys, and we'll see you soon.